Gonna get my man. Gonna get my man.
Opponent noobs at PvP and my level's past 80.
Wow, can't nobody mess with me now. I'm on a quest with my girl, getting wild. It's my crowd, and I'm proud. Screw you, I'm down. Shut your mouth. I play wow. I play wow. I play wow. Turn it up, say it loud. I play wow. I play wow. I play wow. Turn it up, say it loud.
Wanna date my avatar.
Single white human, looking for group. My stats so high, you'll be out of the loop.
Got a new elite staff that you can equip. Close your mouth up, ladies, this is pure nerd knit.
I'm a picture-based fantasy, I'm man so stoic. I hack and slash, who the heck's more heroic?
Check me out, cloth armor fits me like a glove. Just Twitter a time, I'm ready for love.
Hang with me in my MMO. So many places we can go. I'm better than a real world quest. You'll touch my +5 to dexterity vest.
Wow. Some of these songs that you just heard, I haven't heard in years. And in making this video and getting the chance to hear them again has brought back so many nostalgic memories for me from back in the day that, oh gosh, has really touched my heart and my soul right now. Golly. So as you can see, I am here in Orgrimmar right now. And I'm going to tell you about something new that's happening and talk about something new. I'm sure you've probably heard about it already, and that's the fact that WoW Classic is coming back in a way. Blizzard has been working on the 1.12 patch of the old World of Warcraft, so from what we're hearing, it's going to have pretty much everything like the old days, you know, everything like the old days. So we're going to look into some things. I've been doing some research, and I want to talk about some of the things that have happened. I want to get everyone's opinion on that as well. So let me know at any time in the comments, what did you play WoW? What server were you on? I was on Chandris back in the day when I first started playing. That was a PvE server, and then I moved over to a PvP server called Deathwing later on. Then I was also on Mal'Ganis. I've been on many servers over the years, and I learned the error of my ways. I'm all about PvP servers. Once I got onto the first PvP server, that was it. And oh golly, golly. Let's get on into, let's talk about some of the things I've been looking at here. So to start off with, we got the initial post of mark your calendars, WoW Classic launch and testing schedule. So what we have here, it's already in beta. There's a lot of people, as you can see on Twitch. Tally was streaming this earlier here, which was really cool to see. Let's see if he's still on. He's still playing the classic WoW, rocking and rolling with 2,800 people watching him right now. That is pretty sick. I used to be on the Hammer Squad back in the day, and I'm happy to see Tally playing the old school of WoW, and that is just awesome. Just absolutely awesome. There is a bunch of people that are streaming it right now, so if you want to see the classic WoW, you know, definitely check it out. I mean, Asmongold, 68k viewers right now in playing classic WoW. There's definitely been an audience for this. People have really wanted it for a long time. That's something I want to cover later as well. So we got the testing schedule. They're going to have testing from Wednesday, May 22nd to Thursday, May 23rd, then June 19th, June 20th. So these tests over time, and then it should be releasing, I think, in August. Yep. Character creation Tuesday, August 13th. So they're also going to be doing name reserves and stuff. So I'm going to be looking into that as well. I already have it pre-ordered. I'm definitely going to be playing this when it comes out. I truly miss the classic WoW. Truly miss it. That's some of my happiest gaming memories out of all my gaming memories. And I really want to see if it still holds up nowadays. That's something I want to talk about later. So it's official. It's finally happening. I know gamers have been fighting for it for the longest time, you know, and finally Blizzard has, you know, come to a point where they're kind of coming to fruition on this thing that technically already existed a while ago. Now let's talk about, you know, what we're seeing here. World of Warcraft Classic feels like a total different game. golly gosh. So this person's been talking about, playing the classic beta and everything. Launched 15 years ago. Recreated my very first character, Human Warrior, because in the last push alpha test I joined in 2004, there was no horde. And logged in. Immediately, I was surprised by how good the graphics actually looked for being 15-year-old textures on polygons. So, they're keeping the old look, but it looks like it's still a little bit, it's a little upgraded. Definitely the animations and everything are definitely a lot better. This person later on, I can't remember where they said it. There it goes. The original WoW was painful. Mobs took forever to die. One additional enemy in a fight was a pain. 2 probably meant death. There was a ton of running. Most buffs lasted 2 minutes. Many took reagents. Abilities were trained and often out of reach if you lacked the necessary gold. Warlocks had to farm shards. Hunters had to carry ammo. Even my warrior did, since in vanilla WoW, she can carry a bow and fire arrows herself. So this kind of sums up my worry of the old school WoW. I think, Heather Newman here from Forbes has done a spectacular job at kind of going through the old school WoW. And I think that when it comes down to talking about WoW, I do think that, like, when you talk to, like, the really old school people, like the vanilla people, you do get a good idea of, kind of the old school way of gaming in a way. Before the internet really took over, and you could find everything on the internet. WoW at that time was a game where everything was unknown still. You didn't just get to endgame as fast as you could and then just, Google all of your abilities and just have everything perfect without fail. It was wonky. It was weird. It wasn't about the endgame. It was about the game. It was just about the game, not about the endgame and what your rinse and repeat was in endgame. Yeah, you did have world PvP. You did eventually have battlegrounds. You did have the raids and stuff. But those were bonuses. Those were just, what is everyone doing on Tuesday? You want to try out that raid thing? Yeah, okay. And then you go to the cities. You spam the cities asking for people and everything. It was a world back then, and as the years have gone on, it's felt less and less like a world, and it's just felt like, an empty kind of husk of what it once was in many ways. Yeah, it does still have great story, it does still have a beautiful look, and these beautiful abilities that you could do and everything. The animations have gotten better, all this. But it still feels like that empty husk of what it once was, which, has kind of sucked. So she does go on here. If the endgame feels miles away and min-maxing is difficult because, frankly, you're going to take what you get and like it, then the focus on game changes completely. Suddenly, it's about the experience of leveling again and hanging out with friends and chatting with people in Goldshire. Well, for purely innocent reasons. Anyway, the Moonguard servers Goldshire crew does plenty of chatting. It's like, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about, where there was a video of one of the WoW creators back in the day being asked, are you going to make a classic server? And he was very famously said, you wouldn't want that. He's like, nowadays you have such nice things. You don't have to go to a city and spam in the city chat that you're looking for a tank for so-and-so dungeon. Now you just hit one button and you get into the dungeon. And it just really shows how far Blizzard has diverged from their fan base. I mean, back in the day, from Vanilla to the Burning Crusades to Lich King, the fan base was a family. If you were a WoW player, whether you were on the Horde or the Alliance, it didn't matter. You were a WoW player, and you had just wonderful stories to share, and you truly had a great time. Like, I always remember the fact that my cousin and I, we played on the same server for most of my WoW time, and we did world PvP a lot. I was Boomkin, he was a rogue, so I could still go into cat form and travel around in invisibility, and so he's a rogue. And there was always this one person, Cidafalis, and there was two other people, I can't remember their names anymore, but they would all be in this one area where, like, the endgame quests were at that time. This was, like, Lich King era. And, you know, like, literally night after night, we'd be doing our, like, arenas, we do battlegrounds, we do raid and stuff, and in between all that, we'd be over in the place called Tolbarad, and we would just be hanging out and, you know, helping save the Horde characters that were there, you know, from these Alliance guys that would sit there and troll as well. So we'd have this back and forth battle, you know, and it was so great. But then my cousin, years and years later, he was working in a doctor's office, and someone had to come in to fix one of the pieces of equipment in there, you know, and it just comes up, you know, that, you know, he plays WoW, he used to play WoW and stuff, and the person says, oh yeah, I used to play WoW too, what server were you on? And like, oh, Deathwing. And first of all, I was on Deathwing too, you know, and my cousin's like, what character were you? Like, maybe we run into each other, I used to do a lot of, like, world PvP, and the guy's like, my name was Cidafalis. And my cousin was like, no way. And he's like, he says his character named Lucifero, and, you know, going back and forth and everything, you know, it's wild. You run into people that you met in game, you didn't know from anything, and it just turns out you live in the same area and you happen to meet. That was the beauty of WoW. And then over the years, it just became, get your dailies done, get your dungeons done, get your arenas done, you know, do the raid once a week. And outside of that, there's really no reason to know anyone unless you're doing that stuff on your multiple tunes. Whereas the original WoW was so hard and so much like a real world where you're not just blinking across the map. Your characters might need to get supplies to be able to do abilities. You need items for your buffs. You need, like, everything and anything, including dying. If you die, that song, Don't Make Me Get My Main, the whole point, you see him resurrect and have to run back to his body. And what's that person doing? Sitting there waiting for him to get back to troll him. So you'd have to, like, resurrect, like, you'd have to keep on running towards a spot like a forest or something like in that video, where you can then resurrect at a faraway tree where you can't be seen. So maybe you could be far enough away so they can't activate an ability on you, and you could run, you know. But it was a real world, so every time you'd be trying to talk in general chat, like, I need help at this spot, you know, please help me, I'm getting camped right now by a so-and-so, you know, since I'm a horror player, by an annoying Alliance player, you know. It was wonderful. Like, really, the fact that it was a real world was wonderful. But, you know, like this person mentioned, like Heather mentions in her article, will new people, like, you know, will they like it? Like, this was a hard world, you know. So I was looking around even more so, you know, for different stuff. And, you know, seeing a whole bunch of stuff, you know, in Reddit, and people talking about Battlegrounds, what they don't like about it and everything. And so far, I haven't seen anything, you know, kind of showing that people aren't going to like it, you know. And then I kind of started thinking back to, I knew that there were some servers that existed for WoW, and kind of, you know, were pretty big not that long ago. I think maybe like 3 years ago. About 2 years ago, and one of those servers was called Nostalrius. So in searching for the Nostalrius server, I found some posts that they made. I did find the actual website. I must have closed it, I guess, maybe. Yeah. Oh, no, you know, I got this from their actual website. So Progressive Vanilla, forum space for Twitter, you know, they talk about us, skip the announcement. So the most recent thing I find is in 2016, you know, a long, long time ago. Now, Nostalrius does not exist anymore. So at this time, it mentions the last few weeks have been full of exciting events we didn't anticipate. They had a petition with 250,000 signatures on it for Blizzard to allow for, either an Nostalrius server to exist or for Blizzard to add the classic WoW into their game. So we're going back to 2016, May of 2016 here. That's 3 years ago, over 3 years ago, that a game fully existed that was vanilla WoW, and it was keeping up with the WoW patch notes. It was the full game and everything, and ran perfectly fine for 250,000 signatures to be signed. So for it to take Blizzard 3 years is a little bit concerning. Now, it makes me wonder how close to the real game that they're going to have it. Is it really going to be the old WoW, or what's going to be different? Are they going to add in any new elements? I hear so far that PvP isn't in it at this time, but it will be coming to the classic WoW. So what's going to be different? There are, though, still some websites like the Elysium Project that exists that do have the classic WoW, and they're even moving up to the Burning Crusades at this point. They have 1,600 players online, and from what I looked into how many, they say online maximum 5,700, 2,600. So for sure, it's gone down quite a bit. The accounts registered, though, are 1.2 million. That's a lot of freaking people, if you ask me. Unique players per day, 12,000. Accounts created per day, 1,000. So, it looks like it's small, but it is a vibrant community of people who want that old school content. So at least we do have some proof that this desire was around in 2016 and is still around in, a smaller way now. But I'm guessing maybe people didn't want to go over to the Elysium Project from Nostalrius after experiencing what they experienced here. And the way Nostalrius, had to leave was they got into a legal suit with Blizzard. And basically what came out of it was that they'd be ambassadors to legacy servers. Their source code and database won't be released. So they were kind of threatening that they were going to give their source code to Elysium. And they did give a lot of stuff to Elysium to a point where Elysium was able to kind of move the content over to the Elysium servers, but without losing any of the data and whatnot, which was kind of odd. But, it makes me wonder. So they talked to Blizzard. They decided to not give out their source code. And then 3 years later, we're finally getting World of Warcraft. You know what I'm saying? A little bit weird. I wonder if Blizzard threatened them to get the source code from them and then worked from there. I would say probably the hardest thing for them would have been to maybe get it to work with their BattleNet systems and whatnot. And maybe if they wanted to tinker with textures or something, they might have did a lot of work like that. But I have a feeling they had to have used a lot of what Nostalrius made here. And it's a shame that I do believe in, in this case where there was no competition out there, and there was a desire, and Blizzard wasn't fulfilling that desire by their own community. You have to wonder. But the classic WoW is millions and millions of strong players here. So the private World of Warcraft servers aren't backing down in the face of WoW Classic. This is in 2018. And the story, it talks a lot about kind of what I've already mentioned too. It mentions Nostalrius, waged a gruff, controversial legal war with the Arbiters of Nostalrius, the most popular unauthorized vanilla server at the time, had the server closed for good, with which created a lot of bad blood between the company and some of its most unyielding fans. The two other major private servers left, Kronos and Elysium, are still active, and most certainly won't be willfully seizing their enterprises once Classic hits BattleNet next summer. So it's nice to see that they're still going up and running, because Blizzard really did not want to do this. They really didn't want to do this at all. It's the weirdest thing ever, in my opinion. It just seems like in some ways, Blizzard does keep up the old school Blizzard ways of just being awesome towards their community. Like, if you look at Overwatch, I mean, you can get that game for as low as $40 and quite often $30, even when it kind of first came out. And just all the content that they release for that game is unbelievable. You know, you look at even WoW, I mean, they did do a lot of work with, like, the servers, opening up the servers and making it into a more high-definition game. But, you know, every bit of everything they do is just peppered by decisions that are clearly from the people running the company and the true board that's in control of everything that just doesn't make any sense. It's like, it's very easy to make, like, Blizzard fans are very easy to make happy. They don't want much. They just want respect. You know, respect and listening to their nerddom. It's like, it's not like a hard question. You know, you make a Diablo game and you hint at Diablo game, and then you find out it's a cell phone Diablo game when it's been years since last Diablo. And the last Diablo came out and was very lackluster when it released. Diablo 3 was very lackluster. Didn't have PvP, you know, didn't have anything of really what Diablo 2 had. It was a very watered down version of that with really nothing to it. Like, it was dismal, you know, and just to see that there was no desire to really kind of change from that release and move to something else. You know, they did do a lot of work on Diablo 3 over the years, but really, I mean, compared to Diablo 2, it's like night and day, you know. And then you look at WoW and just how they just shedded millions and millions of people. I mean, this is a game that was once touting the fact that it had like 11 million people playing it at a time for an MMO. And that's 11 million people paying $16 a month, you know? And that's been shed down to only like a couple of million, you know? It's crazy. I mean, I remember back in the day, if you didn't play for like 4 weeks straight or something, I would just call up and just tell a person, like, hey, I haven't been able to play for like a month. Is there any chance I can get that time back? And kid you not, every time I ask that question, the person on the phone would say, oh yeah, sure, no problem. They give me like a free month. Like, it was crazy. They were just so helpful, so nice. You'd call up on the phone. Those people were WoW players. Back in the day, all the people that worked for the company pretty much were freaking WoW players. They would all get a free account just for working at the company where they could play as much as they wanted and have fun and have a blast. You know? It was crazy. The people that you talk to for customer support that would help you in-game were WoW players. They'd come up and role-play with you in the chat. They'd be like, in like, you know, parentheses, like, a mist approaches, close parentheses, you know, like, you hear a sound, and, like, you know, they'd be saying all this stuff in, like, the chat, like, so-and-so appears before you, and then they would just appear out of nowhere, you know? It was crazy. It was amazing. It was a world-changing happening. And now, it's an imitation game, like it says here. You know, it's an imitation game. You know, they're just copying, in a way, what Nostalrius did, what Elysium did, 3 years after they started to decide that they didn't want those things to exist. You know, this is a company grabbing at straws as it's fallen down the tree in many ways. But I'm still beyond excited to play Classic WoW. And am hoping that maybe in the future, after they see, you know, if Classic WoW works, that this was a worthwhile thing to do. And they should listen a little bit more. And maybe they should enact quicker from the listening that they do. You know, but I kind of doubt it. I kind of doubt it because our AAA companies are very unfortunate these days. I do feel that they're really the top of the top ones, and I don't think it's all their fault. I think it's our fault as well, because look at me. I already have the Classic WoW pre-ordered and ready to go. I got the collector's edition. I'm not gonna lie. You know, not gonna lie, I'm an old softy for the Classic WoW. and I have to do it. But, you know, on other games, I do not buy sports games because I think they're dismal. I'm not going to be buying another Call of Duty because I think what Black Ops 4 was the final nail in the coffin for me. You know, I think that, you know, it's best to take a step away from kind of the bad practices financially so that these companies can learn, like, all right, we messed up. Let's change it up, you know. But, golly gosh, I think that's where I'll end it there. Let me know what you think about Classic WoW. Do you think that the harder grind of the game is going to be something that's not going to work with people? Do you think it's going to be easy? Do you think, you know, people are going to like it? Do you think it's going to have the same effect? Is it going to make for friendships? Is it going to make for great experiences or no? You know, let me know. I'd really love to know, and I'd really love to chat about it, you know, because this is definitely something that is close to my heart, and, yeah, it means a lot to me, this game. This is a lot of my time, a lot of my days, so hopefully it goes good. We'll see, though, in August, I guess, because I ain't getting no beta, apparently. Golly.
Like, comment, subscribe, and follow if you dare.